So, guys, today's message is going to be a little different from what you're probably used to. As you can see, I have this weird, giant wooden plywood contraption behind me. And, yeah, we have a whole team that's, like, about to do, like, random things, like flash mobs and all that kind of... I'm just kidding. But, no, it's actually going to be really interesting. But hopefully you guys get the message. Just pulling up my notes real quick. Life is on Google Drive nowadays, so as long as you have internet, you have a message. All right. Okay, so first of all, third time today, how is everyone doing? Awesome, perfect. Really good to see a lot of familiar faces here. Yeah, and I've never actually been to the service before. I'm actually really good friends with Cecil, so I know all these guys for a long time. But anyway, you guys don't know anything about me. My name is Burli. I'm just part of this band. We actually live in Austin, Texas. And we're here on tour, actually. We're going through a few different states. But there's been one message that's been deeply on my heart, especially for the last few months, and wanted to share it with you guys. Okay, so if you don't know anything about me, I'm actually an engineer by profession. Well, actually not by profession, by school. Never actually went into it, but God has made me into an engineer by design. What I mean by that, when you guys drive down the freeway, most of you guys don't notice every street light that you cross, but I do. I actually look at the street light and I'm like, man, that thing's so cool. Like, what kind of aluminum did they use? Like, what size bolts are those? You know, like, what wattage bulb is it? Like, I literally analyze that entire thing from top to bottom. And I'm like wondering, wow, what kind of complexity went into that engineer who made that street light? And then I go from there and I start talking about, like, I look at the tree that's right next to the street light. Like, okay, so the street light was complicated, but the leaf that's on that tree is about 50 billion times more complicated. Like, there's like so many different dimensions and everything that go into that tree being made. And so I just get completely in awe of God and his creation. And guys, I can give you a whole spiel on how creative God is. I mean, I could tell you about the 25,000 different species of fish that's out there. Like all different colors and shapes and sizes and textures and... You know what I mean? Like, there's like giant things that are like the size of your house, and then there's like fish that can survive at the bottom of the ocean where we still can't go down. I mean, like the creativity that God put into each one of these is just like unreal. But I could also tell you about the stars, the other end of the spectrum, the stars that are out there, and the smallest star, the size of Manhattan, it spins so fast it starts making noises. And so then there's stars that make music. And then if God is talking about billions of stars, well, we have 10 people singing on stage, but God is listening to this giant orchestra of stars in the sky. Like, he's not just creative with colors and, you know, design and all that stuff. He's also creative with music. And guys, his creativity just goes out there. I mean, actually, from where you're sitting, if you look through this, I don't know if you can see it. There's a little speck right here. You guys see that little speck? All right, let's make it a little easier. What about, there's a little hole right here. Can you guys see that hole? If you actually look through that hole, all right, sorry guys. Oh, okay. You guys see the square. If you look through that square into your night sky, you know you're actually looking at 10,000 different galaxies. So I'm talking about a window that size, look through that thing, and look into your sky, you're actually looking at 10,000 different galaxies. Each one of those galaxies has 100 billion stars inside of it. So when God makes something, he went all out, like above and beyond. And so mind you, it's that dot there, like literally everywhere. And that's your night sky, guys. The creativity of God is just like, whoa, like way out there. And I'm really not going to go into it because I don't want to dwell on that. But I do need to establish that God is creative. And without all of us agreeing that God is super creative, we can't really continue this message. I need to establish that fact first. God is super creative. Okay? So, because God is super creative, Out of everything that God has made, there's actually one thing that God would literally die for, and that's a species called humans. Now, forget how symmetrical we're made. You know, forget the programming that went into our bodies, that if the body were to fall forward, immediately the brain would send a signal to the legs saying, hey, stop the fall. But let's say both legs were tied. All of a sudden, whoa, hands, stop the fall. That's all within a fraction of a second. Do we have any programmers in the building today? All right, there we go. You guys know what I'm talking about. The amount of complexity that it would take to program that motion right there, that split-second motion, would just be unreal. Even each one of you sitting here just looking at me, you're doing different things. Your heart's beating, like your eye, like the programming that's happening with just you sitting there is out of this world, guys. God is just super creative. But he's so creative that every 250 milliseconds, he makes a brand new person, just a brand new individual that is a completely new creation. Troy, can you lower this mic just a tad bit? A brand new individual. I mean, okay, so normally I have like a hands-free thing, so I do a lot with my hands, but let's say this baby right here is that brand new individual, right? Guys, this baby that he makes every quarter of a second is this brand new combination of skills, of interests, of character traits, things that annoy this baby. It's just a completely brand new person. But guys, each one of these babies are designed by God, and they're designed for God. So as I'm looking at each one of you sitting here, all of you are completely different from the person sitting right next to you. I mean, the things that bother you are not the things that bother the guy next door to you. Just way different. And that, again, it just goes to show the creativity of God. Actually, you guys know the person Kim Walker? There's a band called Jesus Culture. Well, Kim Walker had a point in her life where she felt really, really useless. Like, she didn't know what her purpose... I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, so there was a point in her life where Kim Walker just felt really useless and didn't know what her purpose in life was. It was at this time where she saw God making Kim Walker out of clay. And I'll try to give you a demonstration here. So God was sitting behind his kitchen counter, and he was making Kim Walker out of clay. And so once he was done, he put Kim Walker in this little box, and he closed the box. Okay? He opened the box. Kim Walker starts singing and dancing. There you go. And God's face just lights up, guys, like a little kid. God was just super excited that this creation that he made is now singing and dancing for him. Just overjoyed. But then he closed the box. He opened the box again. Kim Walker starts singing and dancing again like this never ever happened before, and God's face just lights up all over again. It's like, wow, this creation that I made is now singing and dancing for me. Guys, just super, super exciting. So I want to ask you today, each one of you sitting here, like I said, God is super creative. And so when he made you, he did not make you like the same as he made anyone else. When he made you, what did he put in you that makes him super happy? Like, what do you have inside of you? I'm looking at a sea of people right now, a bunch of people, like 100 people, each one of you completely different from the next. What did God put inside of you that makes him happy? If you think about it, God could have just like recycled us. Because he could just pull, I mean, he made a brand new person, but he could have just been like, well, why don't I just use someone from like back in the day, you know, from like 3,000 years. I'll just recycle them. They'll never know that this guy was already here. But he doesn't, guys. He makes you completely different. So I want to ask you again, what is it that God put inside of you that God has gifted you with? And I want you to think outside the box. I don't want you to think I can't preach or I can't sing, so I'm useless. I want you to think way outside the box. I want you to think 18-wheelers for a second. I love 18-wheelers. Ever since I was a little kid, and when I was 5 years old, what I used to do was in my living room, I would make this out of books and pots and pans. I would make this little town, quote unquote, on the floor, right? And then I would take my toy truck and I would drive it through the town. And then, the truck would have to make this turn, and all of a sudden it gets stuck, and it's like, man, this crazy dilemma. Like, what do I do? The truck is not going to make the turn. I got a car in the way. That building's not going anywhere. I would get on top of this thing, get under it, get next to it, whatever I can do just to get this truck to turn. It was this huge dilemma at 5 years old. Just this huge passion for trucks. And eventually, the truck made its way out of there. But guys, years down the line, 18 years down the line, I became part of a band. And the band has a lot of equipment, a lot of gear. Okay, so we have drums and all these random things, all these cases and everything. So one thing we could do is put into 5 different Corollas and go from point A to point B. But the more efficient option would be to get a truck and trailer or something, right? Like that. And so that's what we did. We got a truck and trailer. But guys, that truck and trailer is not going anywhere until someone checks the air pressure. Someone checks the brakes on that thing. So, the amount of maintenance on that thing is ridiculous. But it's not. But would you give the job of maintaining that thing to our website designer? Why not? He doesn't care about that stuff. That's not what he's built for. Would you give the job of maintaining that to our marketing guy? No, because that's not his wiring. That's not what he's called to do, guys. But give it to me, I will do it hands down. I will go from one end to the other. I'll sacrifice 2 days of my life to make sure that thing is good to go. I'll clean it at the end too. Because I have a genuine passion for it. Now, guys, check this out. Because I stepped into that passion, my ministry that is living in Austin can get from Austin to New York to do what it is that they are called to do. If I did not step into what I'm called to do, they're kind of stuck there. And they're kind of limited to how useful they can be. Does that make sense? So again, I'm going to challenge you guys. Each one of you sitting here have something, multiple things inside of you that you probably don't think is valuable for the kingdom. You probably buried it a long time ago saying, well, that's just my side thing. That's just a hobby. That's not for I just do it for fun. But guys, when I came out of the womb, I didn't have a checklist to check off saying, hey, when I come out, I want to be a truck driver. For some reason, I just like trucks you know what I'm saying? Shaiju loves basketball. Charlie likes soccer. These things are just kind of inherent in these guys. So what we're going to do now is just a little exercise, and we'll show you how this kind of ties into the big picture soon. But you guys can go. My friends are going to pass out these boards, and really it's just a sheet of paper that has just a list of okay, what are my strengths? What are my character traits? What are your interests? What are your resources? And guys, we're not collecting these, nothing like that. You could, for all I care, you could throw these out right when you walk out. It doesn't matter. But in the next step, you will see how this ties into the kingdom and to the bigger picture. So right now, let's just take a few minutes just to fill this out, and I'll be right back. And just in case you're wondering, it's really straightforward. I mean, strengths, what are you good at? For me, I don't know if you can see, but I could play drums. I like driving large vehicles. I love using power tools. And again, some of you still might be wondering, but brother, this is church, What are we talking about? You'll see, guys. And I just want you to take a second and try to just think way outside the box. Just what are you good at? What character traits do you have? Are you slow to anger? Are you patient? Are you empathetic? What do you like? Well, I love trucks. What are things you like to do? And then resources, guys. Nowadays, anything is a resource. This Sharpie is actually a resource right now because I'm about to use that over here. What's a resource that you have? If you have an iPhone, you know how much you could do with an iPhone? Name your resources. What has God given you that you can be used, that can be used for others? Hey guys, so hopefully, I don't know if you actually filled it out, but either way, it was the clipboard was just a little something we made just so you'd actually have a thing to hold the paper on. Yeah, but hopefully you were able to put some thought into it, and don't worry if you didn't get anything. It took me like hours to write down any of that I wrote up there. But you might have discovered that you have a lot more interests and things under your belt than you realized. Also, if you compare yourself to the person sitting next to you, you will see for a fact that you are completely different from anyone else in this building. The combination that make you is very, very, very special. It's very special. And guys, for me, what I've seen is if you as a combination, while you're on this earth for your 70 to 80 years, if you don't execute in what you are called to do, either we get to enjoy what you have and what you bring to the table, or after those years are gone, we lose you forever. And for me, that's really sad. A person came into the world, a person that God made, God custom built, and it was designed to do one thing or some things, but the person never actually did it. And I feel it as a huge loss for the rest of the world. But in my mind, though, right now, again, we have a room full of just creatively, uniquely designed people, right? But in my mind, there's this giant question that's left over, now what? Yeah, great. I'm glad we have a bunch of different people, but what's the point? What do we do with this wiring? Guys, each one of us were uniquely created by God, but the reason we were created was to represent His kingdom. Now, when I say kingdom, that's a word that's brand new to me, believe it or not. I've been a Christian all my life. My dad's a pastor, the whole nine. But for some reason, the word kingdom never actually clicked in my head. And you could take my PK credentials away from me for that one, but guys, I don't know. I know the entire Bible says kingdom of heaven, king. It just didn't make sense for some reason. I always thought it was just he just means God, or he just means heaven. And so I'm going to try to explain to you whatever it is that I'm understanding from this. From what I see, the kingdom of God is literally God has a kingdom. And the problem we don't get this is because we don't come from a kingdom. The majority of us, we come from a straight-up democracy. And, we don't know what this looks like. But in a kingdom, there's a king, and everyone else is yes, king. Whatever you say goes, king. And so God has actually a kingdom that He actually wants to rule the earth with. That's the plan at the end of the day. It's not really figurative, because that's actually going to happen. He wants to rule the earth with His rule. But the way He's doing that is He's saying, hey, when you become a Christian, you're joining my kingdom. You're becoming a citizen of my kingdom. Now, what I'm going to do when you become a Christian is I'm going to spit you right back down to earth, okay, figuratively, or I'm going to throw you right back down to earth, and where you are placed, I want you to represent this kingdom. Did that make sense? You said you're going to be part of my kingdom now. But if you're going to be part of my kingdom has its own culture, has its own set of rules. We do things a certain way. So if you're going to go back down to earth, you got to represent me with what culture, guys? The kingdom culture. The problem I see with most of modern day Christians is, yeah, they went down to earth, quote unquote, right? But they represent different local cultures. the culture of New York or the culture of America or the culture of like corporate culture. They represent different cultures. But you don't necessarily see kingdom culture. Because kingdom culture is way out there. It's like, whoa, we wouldn't even fit. Like, to give you a demonstration of what kingdom culture would mean, if a person here who's part of the kingdom culture walked into a room, all of a sudden, darkness has to leave. Because, guys, you are that light bulb. Now, when a light bulb comes into a room, there's literally no way darkness can still be in that. That's physically impossible. If you are a shining light, all of a sudden, the anxiety around you, the sickness around you, the depression around you has to go. You actually didn't do much. You just kind of walked in there. In this room right now, I'm looking at 100 people that are probably Christian. This room should be exploding, right? When we're here, there's no room for darkness here. Guys, when kingdom cultured people speak, they can speak against sickness. They can speak against the will of whatever is not in the will of God boldly, and things will happen. Guys, kingdom culture, people that are coming from the kingdom, they love unconditionally. When people throw insults at them, they're able to actually tolerate it, and they're able to like they can respond well with that. It's a different breed altogether. Their patience is unheard of. Like, you'll notice which culture you're from based on how you do these things. If you have patience, it's a good chance you probably live in kingdom culture. If you don't, you probably haven't fully lit that bulb yet. The kingdom culture person, they can go to the train station, they could see the average guy that's standing there and be like, wow, look at that guy. I mean, he is a creation by God. Like, wow, that guy's a brand new person. And so they're actually looking not through their local culture eyes, they're actually looking through their dad's eyes. They're like, whoa, my dad made that guy, and he loves that guy. It's a different breed, guys. It's a completely different mindset. Kingdom culture doesn't worry about bills. They're like, that's not my priority. My dad is loaded, number one, so I don't have to worry about that. Number two, he sent me here, so I'm sure he'll take care of me. And number three, when he sent me here, he said, hey, you got one job alone. Represent me. And there was a second half to that too. Seek ye first the kingdom of God. Kingdom, there we go. Seek ye first my kingdom, my glory, my imprint, my weight, my nature. Seek first that, getting that on the earth, and then, what's the rest? Everything else will come. Whatever you need will be taken care of. Just take care of me. Like, just seek me. Guys, that's kingdom culture. Now, if you guys are sitting here worried about like all these kind of things, I would challenge you to think about it. What culture are you really, really being influenced by? So guys, the reason that you're actually on this earth is a giant loaded question in one. Like, what's my purpose in life? Well, the reason that you're on this earth is to reflect the kingdom culture by loving your neighbor. Because remember, you're thrown onto this earth. Your job is to love your neighbor, but the way you do that is by your wired boards. What's written on your board is how you are made. Now, the way you love your neighbor is going to be different from the way the next door guy loves your neighbor. That's how it all comes back into full circle. You are here on this earth to represent the king. The way you represent the king is through the way that you are built. Now, this could be in your apartment complexes, this could be in your houses, this could be your little neighborhoods. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you an actual example of the way the local church can love their neighbor. this is cool because I know you guys are a local church that loves your neighbors. I know you guys like that, and I know the things you do. So most of the places I speak, they actually don't execute this. And it's kind of more like closed-minded, and it's like, well, this is just, who we are. I know you guys do love your neighbor. So take this kind of as just almost like a pat on the back. Just keep doing what you're doing. But this is cool. I don't know if, if something you thought about. But I'm going to give you a few examples how the local church can be just a light to wherever they're placed. Now, one of the things that they can do is literally your neighbors. And how many of you guys are from around this community, actually? Like from around Elmont? Awesome. And you guys know, right? CWS and these guys, they love Elmont so much. I had a meeting with Pastor Cecil once, and he was like, man, Elmont is just my heart. I just love Elmont so much. And so, guys, here's a practical model of how this can happen. For the church to be a light to wherever they're placed, the local church, you guys could put CWS in this, but you could also put your own family into this. It could be you and your neighborhood, whatever it is. But again, for an example, I'm using the local church. For the local church to be a light to wherever they're placed, there's different things that they could do. One of the things that they could do is reach out to their literal neighbors. Now, to do this, one of the things that we'll need is we need someone to actually go to the neighbors. We need someone to actually go there. Now, would you send the church secretary, because he's a church secretary, to go to your neighbors? No, he's probably not built for it, or maybe he is. What I do need, though, is someone who's kind of like a PR person, someone who's great with people, who's like social, outgoing, ideally someone with a gift of discernment, because you'll see when we go to these people, sometimes they might be trying to rip us off or whatever. Let's be wise about it. Is there someone that matches that description that I just said in this room? All I'm going to do, if you could raise your hand, all I'm going to do is grab your name and write it down. I'm not going to ask you to come up or embarrass you or anything like that. But if there's anyone like that in this room, I would love to put your name down here, because we'll see how we all fit into the big picture. Someone who's outgoing, great with people, has a gift of discernment. That's what I thought too. Oh, what's your name? Sorry? How do you spell it? E-A-L? Sorry, my drumming, it's messing with my head. A-L-T-H-E-A? Nice. So, Althea? Nice. Okay. So, Althea is great with people, guys. I mean, she can go to the next door neighbor, she can spark conversation with them, and all of a sudden, when she goes next door, she finds out that the neighbor is actually getting married. So, the neighbor's getting married, but the neighbor has no one to help with the planning. I mean, she obviously first time getting married, just needs some help. Is there any way we could show love to her by just helping her with some event planning? Any event planners here? Anyone who's just good with wedding planning? What's your name? Yvonne? Yvonne, okay. So I have Yvonne there. So Yvonne's helping the neighbor get married. And then Althea keeps walking down and finds out another neighbor's car broke down. Guys, is there anyone who's good with mechanical work here? Loves working with cars? I mean, even if you can't physically do it and don't have time, at least just the advice to what to look for. Is there anyone here who's good with that? What's your name? Aju? Okay, listen, you got to hear the name. You want to? Okay, so Aji helps the car guy, and again, Aji, you don't actually have to go fix it, but at least if you could point them in the right direction. We don't want our neighbors to get ripped off, right? So as Althea keeps going down the block, she sees another neighbor who just got a new job. Congratulations, neighbor. But the problem is not enough time to hire a babysitter. It's so quick notice that she's like, man, is there anyone we could hire as just a babysitter temporarily? Local church, is there any way we could help that neighbor? Is anyone have experience babysitting or taking care of children? Anything like that? Everybody's looking around like one person. Althea again? Is there anyone else? Oh, is that Julie all the way in the back? All right. Yeah, it is Julie in the back. All right, so my wife can actually do it, and even though she's not part of this local church, she is a part of the kingdom. And so, okay, so Julie's going to take care of that. And then as Althea keeps walking down, she finds that there's a death in the family in the neighbor next door. Is there anyone who can just be very empathetic, a great listening ear, just for whoever, was that a hand over there? No. Okay. Is there anyone who can just sit there with this neighbor as they go through this tough time? Ansi, yes. Ansi, you would do it extremely well. And then last but not least, guys, I need someone who loves Xbox, because there's a guy, I had 5 hands just go shot up. Sam, before I put you on, I need to explain this first. Well, actually, Sam, I don't know. Okay, guys, here's the thing, though. We need someone, because there's a kid next door who doesn't have, like, an older brother. Just someone to, like, mentor him and just be... So we just figured, like, the best way to kind of do that would be, let's play Xbox again and just, hang out. Is there anyone who can mentor kids, Sam? Yeah? Oh, Sam's willing to do anything it takes to play Xbox. All right, Sam, we're going to put you down. So, guys, watch this. When Althea, so the local church is trying to be a light to their community, right? When they go to their neighbors, when Althea actually goes to their neighbors, and she does what she's called to do, and then and then Yvonne helps the neighbor that's getting married. Audrey helps the guy with the car that broke down. The neighbor with the new job that needs a babysitter, Julie, took care of that. The death in the family, Ansi is there for that. And last but not least, Sam is going to be the mentor for the little kid. But guys, no, hold on. Guess what happens? When everyone is doing what they're called to do, guess what happened to the darkness in this place? It bounced. There's no more darkness here. When each one of you are doing what you're called to do, straight up, I'm going to give you another example because we're not done yet. Actually, this is a really cool example. My friend in Jackson Heights, what he does, he has a huge heart for Jackson Heights. Jackson Heights is full of people of all nations. Immigrants. I mean, they just came. Problem is, they don't know English. So my friend Bodo was like, hey, Burli, I have to reach these guys. How can I reach them? Oh, wait, the need is they need to know English so they can get a job and do everything else in life. Why don't I do free English classes? Guys, he did free English classes in the South Asian Community Center in Jackson Heights. When he did that, people were just coming, it's for free. No hidden agenda, nothing. They were just coming and they were learning English. Just average people just reading a syllabus and just teaching them like that. When these average people did it, all of a sudden these guys became mentors to the students. I mean, these are people like grandpas and grandmas from all different countries. But they're looking at these teachers as wow, thank you so much for loving us and taking the time out of your day. Guys, long story short, when they started doing this for a while, this relationship just got bigger and bigger. And one of the things that they wanted to do for this community was give them dinner. Like an all-out dinner. They wanted to feed them. They didn't want to just spoil these guys. So all the teachers got together and they're like, okay, we want to put a dinner to love those neighbors. So to do that, there's a few things that we'll need. First, we need an event planner. Someone who's great with logistics. We had someone here before, but is there anyone else who can coordinate all this stuff together? Who's that? Sonal? What's your name? Lindsay. All right, so Lindsay is going to coordinate all of this. Props to you, Lindsay. It's going to be a lot of work, but I think it'll pay off. But guys, we need teachers who can actually teach. Anyone who knows English will work, but ideally, if we can get Hindi and Spanish speaking, or if you know either of those languages, it would be so much better. Anyone who knows Hindi or Spanish? You speak Hindi. What's your name? Christy. Thank you, Christy. Thank you so much for volunteering your time. So now Christy's going to do that. Guys, is there anyone who's good with sound? I have a whole sound team back there. Charlie, I'm putting you in. Okay, guys, we do need funds. I know it's not a comfortable ask. We do need money. Just $300. I know it's not the end of the world for us. Anyone who can chip in toward $300 here. I know no one wants to look like the loaded guy, but okay. Thanks so much, Coach. We'll put you down right there. Joseph. Okay, sorry. Okay, and then guys, we need a transportation team. Did anyone on your boards write, "I have a minivan"? You did write that. Wow, good job. You have, okay. So Joseph. So for both these, man, you're gonna get burnt out soon, Joseph. You're doing everything. And then we need cooks. But actually, I'll say that one. We need someone who can waiter. I want these guys just to come, chill, just relax, do nothing. I want to like literally pour the water into their cup. Anyone who can be a waiter here. Layla? Nice name. And, okay, last but not least, we do need food. We need cooks. But guys, we don't want to order in from Chinese today. We actually want to make it for real. So anyone that knows, like, Jackson Heights is a lot of Indian people. Anyone who knows, like, straight up Kerala food. You know what I'm talking about. Like that parota that looks like a croissant and has butter that makes it so good. Anyone who can make that. Oh, wow, Susan, I'm putting you in. I'm not even asking you. Okay, so guys, again, you see what's happening here. That no matter what you're doing, and well, so you could open up the rest, but no matter what you're doing, there's whatever you're gifted with, you guys, as a local church in this community, have a lot left to do. You guys have to reach out to your neighbors, but the way I want you to do it, and this is my personal opinion, the way I want you to do it is not just the traditional means. God is a creative God. He wants you to do it completely different from the church next door. He wants you to do it the way that you are built. So each one of you guys sitting here, you're not actually just another member here. It's not pastors and, they're doing their thing and I'm just, no, actually you are a crucial part of this body. Mind you, you are part of the larger body. Let's not forget that. But while you guys are working together for this common goal of reaching Elmont, make sure you're not diminishing yourself. Well, I can't preach, I can't play drums, I'm not part of the worship team, I can't take care of children, so I'm just going to sit here and go back home. No, that's actually not how this works. Remember, each one of you are part of the kingdom. You represent another culture altogether. When you come here, you're going to be that light. Wherever you go, you're going to be that light. Wherever you go to the gas station, you go to Panera, wherever you go, you're going to be that light. So, guys, represent the kingdom. Do it the way that God wanted you to do it. And I hope these words made sense to you.
Thank you, Burli. How many of you were blessed this morning? Amen?